everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really fun video that's actually a collab with Ava from Ava's Romance Books. I absolutely adore her. She is just one of the sweetest and just most perfect human beings in the entire world. So if you don't follow her, I need you to go follow her. Okay, I need you to go subscribe to her channel. It'll be linked in the description box below, as well as her video, because she's going to be giving you more like monster paranormal romances, while I'm going to be giving you more like spooky and like witchy vibes with a little bit of vampires as well. But I just wanted to do a collab with her. She already had a monster romance recommendations video planned, so I was like, why not just kind of like throw them together and do a collab together? So make sure you go check out her video. I have one monster romance on my list, but she is going to give you a ton more because she reads a lot more than I do. So with all that being said, make sure you check out her video, make sure you give her a little sub if you don't subscribe to her already, and let's just go ahead and dive right into the recommendations. So some of these books are going to be a little bit older reads that I read maybe last year or the year before, and some are going to be more recent reads that I thought would be perfect for this time of year, especially going into this spooky season, because a lot of people like the witchy vibes. Like, I got my nails done because I read a witchy romance and I was like, ooh, I'm in the mood to have like that witchy red spiky nail thing. I don't know. It was just totally random. Anyway, let's just go ahead and talk about the first book, and that is Black Sunshine by Karina Halley. So this is a little bit older release. I think this is one of the most like epic romances I've read. I know I'm in the minority of that because I know a lot of people are like on the fence if they like this book or not. I personally really enjoyed it. While he is kind of a vampire, he does have this other form that kind of comes out, if that makes sense, but it's not really shown all too often. But I did like it. So this is like borderline vampire with a little bit of like a monster aspect, just a little bit. This is like one of the first books I read where I was like, am I into monster romances? Like, is that my thing? Maybe it is. I really love this. So basically our female character, she doesn't know that she's basically a vampire. And when she turns, I think 21, it's just like a week before her 21st birthday, she's kidnapped by a stranger. And basically that stranger turns out to be the person who is like her soulmate, basically. I really enjoyed it. It's super spicy right off the bat. Oh, there's one scene in particular where like someone else kind of like joins in just a little bit, but I don't want that to like spook some people off. But I personally really enjoyed this book. I do know Karina Halley has a new release coming out, and I'm extremely excited for that. It's called Hollow. I don't know what kind of romance it is, but I think it's more like spooky, and I'm really excited for it. But this is one that I would recommend. If you haven't read some of her like more paranormal books, I would highly recommend this one. The next book I have is Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. So I recently read this book at the end of September, and I fell in love with the story. So this is a very unique book in the way that there is a romance, but it's more like it's a lighter romance. It is definitely closed door. And while I'm someone who doesn't like mind if it's closed door, I don't want that to scare some people off, because I think the romance in this book is extremely good, and it just kept the story going. So not only is this book about our female character and our main male character, it's also about our female character's journey and kind of just like stepping out from her family. So basically you see her, she's working at a perfumery. Her family and everyone on this island is a witch. Basically they practice magic, and there's this whole thing with the mainland that she is basically in an arranged marriage, I guess, to the governor's son, to basically merge the like witchy island people with the non-magic practicing humans, basically. And it's like gonna merge them and kind of like just settle this like uneasiness that all of her people have. Now, she has been told all of these things her whole life, and she meets this boy one night when their whole coven is out practicing what they call the rush, where they just let go of all of their magic and they release it all from their bodies so it doesn't get like built up in it. And she meets this boy, and he kind of opens up her mind to like, okay, maybe she meets this boy and kind of opens up her mind to like maybe everything that she's been told, and basically everything that she's been told her whole life has been a lie, and that her mother, who is one of the head board members of the island and like of the coven, have been keeping these secrets from her as well. So it's a very interesting, the journey that she goes on personally. I teared up in this book a little bit. I think the romance is great. It's very forbidden. So if you're looking for that, definitely dive in. This is a new release. I think I picked it up at Barnes & Noble when Foxglove came out because it was sitting right next to it. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a 5-star read for me in a different way. And I want more people to read this because I think if you like Belladonna, you would like this book as well. So highly suggest this one. The next one I have is one that I've mentioned previously on my channel quite a bit, and that's Lore and Lust by Carla Nicole. So this is an vampire romance, but what I like about this is while it is on the shorter side, the world has a little bit of world building in it in a way that like makes it digestible. So basically, I think that this is a very unique romance because it takes the whole vampire lore and makes it a little bit more whimsical. The whole magic system is a little bit different. The way that vampires interact with humans is a little different. There is this different hierarchy system, but I think Carla Nicole really explains the lore and the world building really, really well. So where it's easily digestible. So not only are you getting this really sweet friends to lovers, soulmate basically romance between these two vampires, but you're also getting this really cool world that she's built up. There are other books in the series and I have read them. So the first 2 books follow the same couple and then the 3rd book follows a different couple. And I did like where that one was going. And yeah, I just think that Carla Nicole was like a very underrated author and I want more people to read her. So if you're looking for a very sweet friends to lovers, like still kind of spooky, but like light spooky, more lighthearted romance, definitely check out this one this season. I think it's perfect, and I think it's just a fantastic read, and I really, really enjoyed it. The next one I have is not technically a romance, but it is extremely witchy, and this is the book that made me want to get my nails done this way, and that is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. So this book is, like I said, a very witchy romance. You see our female character, she has broken up with her ex, she leaves Manhattan and she goes to this super small town up in upstate New York, and that's where she meets Annie. And Annie is this kind of like celebrity in town. Like everyone knows her, but they're kind of afraid of her. And she starts finding out these little things about Annie as their friendship develops. And she's like, I think she's different. You know, like, I think she's very different than like what I think. Like, there's something going on, and she was trying to figure it out. I thought this was like the perfect atmospheric book for fall and for this season. Like, I really love the cover. It definitely like sums up the story. I'm just saying, if you're looking for like a not romance, but something so atmospheric that's gonna like drag you in and you're gonna have a hard time putting down the book, check this out. I listened to the audiobook and it was so good. Like the narrator has this like not whispering voice, but it's a little bit on the softer and quieter side that just made it so much more atmospheric, I felt like, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a good witchy read that is more of like a friendship and a female character getting over an ex and moving on with her life, check out Cackle. I think a lot of people should read it. The next one I have is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This was another 5-star read for me in September. I loved this book. So this book does deal with a lot of grief. You find out right from the beginning our female character is moving into her late aunt's apartment in Manhattan. I think it's Manhattan. It's in the middle of New York City somewhere. That she lost her aunt who was like her travel buddy. They traveled the world together. She loved traveling and all of these different things. She has been told that all of these stories as a child of all of these like magical things that happen in this apartment is actually kind of real. So yes, this is a romance with an HEA. You are on a journey with this book. So basically when our female character comes home one day from work, she works in publishing. She's like a PR person and she steps into her apartment and she's thrown basically 7 years in the past. And that's where she meets our main male character. And he's like, oh, hey, your aunt let me stay here. I'm so sorry if I'm intruding. And she's like, what the hell is happening right now? Like, how am I here? So it takes her a little while to figure out like that she's 7 years in the past. But I love the way that Ashley Poston writes this timeline. And you're like, when is this going to like lead together? Like, when is the 7 years in the past going to meet up with the 7 years in the future? And like, where is he now? Where is she? Like, where was she 7 years in the past? Like, she's trying to figure out all these things. And I enjoyed the read so much. Like, I really want more people to read it. I teared up a little bit in this book. I just got really emotionally connected to the characters, especially a female character and what she's going through. So perfect like fall, spooky, atmospheric, magical like book for the fall. I don't know what it is. I just love Ashley Poston's writing so much. And yeah, I love this so much more than The Dead Romantic. So if you've read that and liked it, you're gonna love this one even more. Like, I know, hands down, you're gonna love this one even more. So the next one I wanna mention is a recent read of mine, and that is Killers and Monsters by Cleo Evans. So every couple of times a year, there's this big Stuff Your Kindle Day where all of these books go on sale for basically nothing. Like, you can get them all for free. And I think this time, it was at the end of September, it was like 2,400 books or something like that. And I was kind of overwhelmed by how many books there was, but I did go through all of them and pick up some that seemed very interesting to me. And Killers and Monsters is one of them. I have heard of Cleo Evans previously, and I was like, I want to pick this up now. I'm in the mood for something monstery, and like, let's just give it a try. I was not expecting the wild ride that this book took, okay? So basically, you see our female character, she is newly 18, she just turned 18, and she's being married off to this person. She's from Italy. Her family is like in the mafia. Her family is like a mafia family, organized crime family. She gets married off for the sake of like joining families. She's taken, I think, to the US and basically put in this very big mansion by her husband. And you see 10 years goes by and she's seen her husband twice in those 10 years. And she is just in this house mansion full of security and her bodyguard. And she has fallen in love basically with her bodyguard, but her bodyguard won't touch her because he's made a deal with her husband that he won't touch her. So when her husband shows up after, 5 years, the last time she saw him, he's like, I want to have like a relationship with my wife. And there's all of these things like deals and stuff that's happened, but he is a dragon, like a legit dragon. Like, he can transform into a dragon, like a ginormous dragon. Like, this is another book where I'm like, do I like monster romances? Like, is this my thing? Like, I was thoroughly surprised because I've tried other monster romances and they were fun, but they were like, I don't think it's my thing. And maybe because this was like a shifter, he was a dragon, he can be in his normal form and then he can like shift into his dragon form. It was so spicy too. Like, if you're looking for a good paranormal magical book with like a dragon, and it's extremely spicy, like, I would say this is like five spice, like on the spice scale, this is like top of the top. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It turns into an MMF, MFM kind of thing. You find out at the end of the book if they can have a polyamorous HEA. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. So if you were like me and you're like, I don't know if monsters are really my thing, check it out. Give it a try. Why not? The two books that I have left, I only have 2 books left, and one of them is A Dowry of Blood. I wanted to mention this one. This is for my dark romance lovers. So this is not an HEA, but this follows the Brides of Dracula, one in particular. I have this one that is told by like journal entries. This is the original. I think the new version is expanded, and I haven't read that one, but when I read this one, because it's very short, when I read this 2 years ago, I loved it, and I read it during fall, and it was just one of those perfect atmospheric vibes, gives you all the spookiness. Like I said, the person telling the story is a bride of Dracula, as well as some of his other brides. You get her point of view as being only one. I enjoyed this. I thought it was a great time. If you've read the newer version, let me know if I should reread it and how much is expanded on. If you've read the original version, I would love to know, but I love this one. I thought I would throw it out there just in case if you wanted something a little different. The last book I have to talk about is Don't Hexen Drive by Juliet Cross. This is book 2 in her Stay a Spell series, and I loved this. So this actually follows a witch. Our female character is a witch. He's a legendary vampire warrior, basically. So he's a super powerful vampire, and let me tell you, he is so sweet. Like, out of all the Stay a Spell series, I think I have 1 book left, maybe 2. This is still my favorite, and this is the second book. You can technically read them out of order, even though I would suggest reading them in order. The first one is a werewolf and a witch, and this is a vampire, like, warrior and a witch. I think all of the sisters are witches, so you get a witch in every single book, but for some reason, like this year, this fall, I'm in my, like, witchy era. I don't know what it is. I'm just in my witchy era, and I just want all of the witchy romances. So that's why a lot of these are witches and I'm recommending them to you. I don't know. If you have more witchy romances, drop them in the comments down below because I love this one. I love the romance. I think it was so sweet. More like a friends to lovers, forced proximity romance. And it's set in New Orleans, if I didn't say that. This whole series is set in New Orleans, which is a beloved city because I'm originally from New Orleans. So yeah, I wanted to throw this one out there just in case if you're also in your witchy era and you want some more witchy romances. Those are all of the recommendations that I have for this video. I don't know what I'm titling it, but more like spooky, witchy, all of that. Drop me like a witchy emoji, drop me a spooky emoji, just all of those vampire, werewolf, dragon, witchy, spell, magical, sparkle, some type of emoji like that. Also, make sure you check out Ava's video. I'll have her channel and the video linked in the description box below. Like I said, I absolutely adore her. I just adore her. I love her so much. So make sure you go give her some love in her video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.